Butterfly is brutal. It's the stroke that makes swimmers question everything. The one that separates those who just survive from those who fly. But here's the truth. Most swimmers struggle with butterfly, not because they aren't strong enough, but because they're fighting the water instead of moving with it. And when you fix that, butterfly stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like you're flying. Today, I'm going to break down the butterfly stroke step by step, the mistakes holding you back, how to fix them, and how to finally make butterfly your secret weapon in the pool. If this is your first time here, I'm Coach Chris. I've been coaching swimmers for over 20 years, starting with age group swimmers just learning how to swim, all the way to those ones making an Olympic run. I've seen and done a lot of things in this sport, including starting the Swim Accelerator, a private online community where I teach swimmers one on one on their specific goals. Butterfly isn't just another stroke. It's not freestyle. It's not backstroke. It's a different moving pattern. In fact, it's really only a movement pattern, a rhythm, a wave that carries you forward. Think about it like a dolphin. A dolphin doesn't fight the water when it swims, it flows with it. The second you stop thinking of butterfly as arms and legs and trying to move them all together and start thinking of it as a whole body motion, you unlock real speed. A couple of the things I always see with my swimmers when I start working with them on their butterfly is swimmers tend to swim very flat. We're so used to freestyle and backstroke being very linear motions, very linear strokes that we don't remember to move. We don't press our chest, we don't move the hips, and we stay flat on top of the water. A lot of times, swimmers tend to overkick. They dive too far down, engaging their core and their hips. They get down to an angle where their head is somewhere down here trying to touch the bottom of the pool and their hips are way up here. And that is just too much. What you want to do instead is you really want to try to visualize your head, chest, and hips moving in a smooth wave, not choppy motions. Feel the water instead of trying to attack it. Every stroke, you should anchor in and start that pull, but by pressing the chest forward, getting that lift, engaging the abs. And again, treat yourself like you're a skipping stone. A skipping stone doesn't sink down really deep every time it gets to that next point. No, it moves, it glides over top of the water. And again, going back to the dolphin, you don't need to press a lot. A dolphin can make very quick motions with its tail without having to make dramatic movements. You're not a whale. Whales tend to make dramatic movements. If you can get one thing right in your butterfly, make it this. Your breath should never break your momentum. Far too often, I see swimmers lift their heads so high, I can see most of their chest, possibly even sometimes their belly button. They get up that high. And you know what? I used to be one of those swimmers. It took me a long time to figure out that I could just keep my chin just above the surface of the water and get enough breath. You want to make sure that you're breathing forward, not up. Everything in fly should be trying to get to the other side. I had a coach once, and unfortunately, it wasn't until I became a master swimmer where they told me that everything in fly should basically be you trying to reach for the other wall. It's not a grab right here and trying to be shallow and think about just kind of anchoring and pulling yourself. Yes, those are important, but you want to reach, you want to stretch every single time trying to get to that other side. Your chin, again, should skim the surface of the water. Imagine there's a glass sheet over the pool and you're just rubbing your chin over top. You want that breath to be quick, in, out, no extra lift. So often swimmers think that they need to get a really big gulping breath when they lift their head. They go, and before they can put it back down. No, it could be a quick breath, just like we do in freestyle. It doesn't need to be a big gasping breath. It's quick. Same idea as freestyle. You quickly turn your head to get that breath, and it's back into the water. Do the same in butterfly. Your kick isn't just for power and fly. It's your timing. And if your kicks are off, your whole stroke will feel it. In fact, you'll feel like you're just pulling dead weight regularly. There's two kicks in butterfly. The first kick is as your arms enter the water, setting you up for that incredibly strong pull. The second kick is a much smaller kick, but no less important. As your arms are finishing the stroke, drive your momentum forward. And if you struggle with that second kick, a trick I use with my younger swimmers is I tell them to actually just do one kick. And that one kick turns into a natural progression into doing that second kick. They do it automatically without even thinking about it. That's how that second kick should be. A lot of times, if you tell a swimmer to use two kicks, all of a sudden you get 3 or 4 kicks per cycle. It's too many. It throws off your rhythm. You want to only have those 2 kicks. So I use the idea of using less kicks in order to get the 2 that I'm looking for. If you want a drill that works really well for this, work on doing vertical dolphin kicks. That engages the core and allows you to really sort of force the chest into that motion. It gives you that full motion technique. Another great way is to do one up with 2 or 3 dolphin kicks underwater, and then one up, 2 or 3 dolphin kicks underwater. You start to get that rhythm, that natural flow in a much better way. A strong butterfly pull isn't just about muscling through the water. Yes, it does need to be aggressive. And yes, you do need to engage those lats to get that big pull. But it's about grabbing and holding the water and moving past it. We've talked about this before. You're not actually trying to move the water. You're trying to move yourself from point A to point B. That is how you move fast. A lot of times I see swimmers who enter way too wide. They're entering way over here in their pull and not having any chance to anchor in and get any power. Or their arms are entering too deep. They're too shallow. So they're wasting energy. They're missing out on that reach, on that extra grab, that extra distance. When you pull in butterfly, you want to think about entering at 11 and 1. Hands in front of the shoulders, not slapped together, not way out here in a Y. You want to have them in that same position that we do in freestyle. You must bend your elbows early. One of the best things in swimming is a high elbow position. It sets you up for that powerful catch. Think about pressing against the water, not slipping through it. You want to make sure that Your upper chest is engaged into that pole. You want to press and get that water ready to move yourself forward. Great way to do this is practice sculling. Sculling forces out front, it forces you to work on the mechanics of the catch. It reinforces good habits. Most swimmers waste a lot of energy on that butterfly recovery. They try to muscle their arms over the water instead of letting the momentum do the work. And what do I mean by this? I mean that swimmers force their shoulder rotation, trying to bring their arms back over to the catch. Instead, as that pull finishes, use the hips to drive the arms over top, making them weightless. A recovery is exactly that. It is a recovery. It should feel like you're not having to work hard. You're doing so much under the water that when it comes to being above the water, it should feel effortless. So, some of the things I see when it comes to the butterfly recovery are that they're either keeping them too low in the water or too high. Some people come out like they're doing a big freestyle recovery, straight arm recovery, up and over. I applaud them on being that flexible. I certainly never was. But you want to keep the elbows soft and relaxed. Your hands should drift over top of the water. If you've ever seen a goose or a loon sort of fly, or even a duck flying over across the lake, they'll do it where they just skim the surface. They barely touch it. Sometimes not it doesn't even look like they're touching at all. That's how your arms should look over top of the water. They should glide over top. Let your momentum drive the recovery. Don't force it. A couple ways to practice this would be freestyle kicks with butterfly arms. It helps you relax the arm swing. Another one I always like to do is fingertip drag butterfly, where I want you to actually think about trickling the fingers. And just that small motion of trickling the fingers will cause you to be that much more relaxed. So let's move on from the actual stroke itself. There's so many other ways that butterflyers lose momentum, lose speed, and they come down to the turn and a breakout. So often I see swimmers just kill their races by screwing up their turns. When I say they're screwing up their turns, I see them doing an open turn where they're either rushing or just being too wide, too loose, or even too stiff, honestly. It should be a fast motion. It should be low in the water. When you do an open turn, so often I see either swimmers wave their arms over top, bringing both arms out of the water as they let go of the wall, thinking that if they move their arms, their legs are going to move quickly underneath the water to position themselves for a good turn. Or I see one arm and they wave like they're waving to a crowd. Another is that they move their head. As soon as they touch, they move their head to look behind them, back the way they came. All of these things are slowing down the momentum, killing the turns, causing them to have to work that much harder when they swim. So to execute a great open turn, you want to touch, never grip the side, never grip a ledge, gutter, whatever it is that's on the edge of that pool. You want to touch. You want to drop one hand next to your hip the other arm is going to come up and come directly alongside your eyesight. Some coaches use the analogy of brushing back your hair. I almost use the analogy of poking yourself in the eye. That's where your hand should be. You should continue to look at where you've been. Look at the edge of the pool. Look at where you just touched until the last second. The feet should come tight underneath the body in a tight ball and swing into that position. Find their placement on the wall and be ready to push off. You are going to be a pendulum. You're going to move yourself away from that wall and plant those feet, but you want to do it correctly. You don't want to overextend. You want to be here to here. This is a fast motion that gets you into that tight, streamlined position. You want to have maximum potential and maximum power coming off that wall and to give you those underwaters. Then that first stroke should come and be a natural flow. It should fit into the rhythm of the underwaters, getting you set up to gain that rhythm yet again for another lap. Maybe it's your last lap, but maybe it's only the middle lap of 100 or a 200. You want to save energy by having a fast turn and maximizing those underwaters. I hope today I've shown you how much you can break down your butterfly stroke so that it's not a battle, that you're not overwhelmed, overpowered by the water. Instead, move with it. Find ways to break it down. And if you want to go even deeper, join me in the Swim Accelerator. I've included a link below. We deep dive into these topics on a regular basis. We break down strokes even further. I give very specific drills that will help you become your ultimate swimming self. Until next time, I will see you in this video right here.